Initially, my journey was taking me to become a doctor, but there was just something in my spirit just said, you're going to be practicing pharmacy in Canada. And I called my mom and I said to her, I'm not coming back.
You came from Jamaica. You were a pharmacist in Jamaica and you said, you know what? Canada. What was the process like to get here?
The first thing is you have to register into the pharmacy gateway. Now it's 4 exams in total. So we have the first one is called the evaluating exam.
How was it on the first try?
I failed. There's a lot of things because pharmacy is a very diverse profession. I got my invitation to apply without the PNP result, but I never did any research. I never saw what the process was like or what that looked like.
Question for you. How much does it cost to take the exam?
Too much money.
Now, you do with your time is, alongside being a pharmacist, is that you are helping other IPGs.
2 of my colleagues and myself decided that we were going to create a WhatsApp group to help persons who were going along on this journey. Now, 7 persons out of the 9 passed, and 5 of them were doing it for the very first time.
One thing that you wish you knew before you came to Canada?
The one thing that I wish was...
If you find value after watching this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to this channel.
Hello, and welcome to our immigration stories as told by Canadian immigrants. I'm your host, Christina McPherson, and this show is all about sharing the real, the raw, and the inspiring journeys of immigrants who have made Canada their home. We're here with Khamoye Williams, a pharmacist from Jamaica who made the trek. We're going to find out about the trek to come to Canada and practice in a regulated profession. So all you regulated professionals out there, specifically the pharmacists, but even if you're regulated, understand that there is a process before you can come to the people in them country and practice. So we're going to learn about that process from Khamoye and what she's doing to help others just like you. Thank you so much for being here, Khamoye.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Christina. I am so happy to be here and excited to be having this conversation with you.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you here and happen to have stumbled upon you and the work that you are doing on LinkedIn. But before we get into the work,
LinkedIn can do, and it was just a funny post. It wasn't even a serious post, but it's amazing what LinkedIn can do.
It's magic. Networking is magic. You'll never hear me stop saying that. Never. You came from Jamaica, so you already had studied at UTech. You did your bachelor's in pharmacy. You were a pharmacist in Jamaica, and you said, you know what, Canada. How did that come about? And then when it came about, what was the process like to get here?
Okay, so I'm going to start at the very beginning, which is actually before I actually went to pharmacy school. Initially, my journey was taking me to become a doctor. That's originally what it is that I wanted to do. And I did not get into UE, which is where I originally wanted to go. And so we did an alternative program, pure and applied sciences, and I was doing that for a semester. And I remember coming out of my final exam that first semester, and I called my mom and I said to her, I'm not coming back. I hated it. I hated it so badly. And my mom said to me, why don't you do pharmacy? And I have to start right there because it was such an impactful moment in my life. I remember exactly how I felt when she said that to me. It was like clocks ticking. And you know, when everything just started to feel aligned, that's what I remember feeling in my brain when my mom said that to me. And funny enough, I had a friend in high school. Her mom was a pharmacist. I was always in pharmacies. And it never occurred to me, you could be a pharmacist. I was just like, I want to do medicine. I want to be an obstetrician gynecologist. That's what I'm going to do. But then that night when I called my mom and she said it, I'm just like, why don't I become a pharmacist? How did that not occur to me before? So shout out to you, Mom. You're the reason why I'm a pharmacist today. I will always remember that conversation. And so that took me to transferring over to UTech instead, which is the University of Technology. And I went to do my pharmacy career there. Now, interestingly enough, I knew I wanted to go to Canada from the first year I was at UTech. I've never been to Canada. At this point, I don't even think I had traveled before as yet. But there was just something in my spirit just said, you're going to be practicing pharmacy in Canada one day.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but it wasn't anything that I like pursued intentionally. It was just something that was just in my spirit. And I said it to a lot of my friends at pharmacy school, like, I'm going to go to Canada when I'm finished with pharmacy school here. But I never did any research. I never saw what the process was like or what that looked like. I simply just knew. And so I continued my pharmacy life. And I had a whale of a time at UTech with my pharmacy friends. Shout out to B Farm 2017. I love them so much.
Shout out.
Shout out. And then I went ahead, I got licensed as a pharmacist in December of 2018 in Jamaica.
Okay. Okay.
And I continued my pharmacy journey, still not thinking about Canada, not pursuing anything, no research. It was just something that was like just resting in my spirit. Now, how did it actually, what triggered me to take action to actually start looking into, okay, how do you
Yeah.
get to Canada? So I had a med rep or a medical representative come to my pharmacy who happened to also be a colleague that we went to school with at UTech together. And she told me that she was initiating her process to move to Canada as a pharmacist. Now, and I remember this very specifically because it was my birthday. She came and she visited, I believe it was my birthday 2022 or 2021, but it was my birthday. She came, she visited, she told me she was doing it. And I'm like, oh yeah,
Oh
Canada.
yeah, Canada,
And
right?
I was gonna do
It's like in the back of your mind, stewing on the stove.
it's just there, but it's like background noise. It's just running, even though I'm not paying it any mind. I'm like, oh yeah,
Right.
Canada. So I asked her a lot of questions like, okay, what's the process like? What have you done? Where are you in the journey? So she was just initiating that first step, which we call the document evaluation, where you're submitting like your UTech credentials or your university credentials to get them
Oh,
assessed to see if it is that the your credentials are transferable to Canada.
right.
And I already knew that they were. So it's just like, what are the documents exactly that I needed to get
Okay.
that done? So once it is that she said that to me, that was my trigger. And that's what actually initiated my journey to start moving. So I asked her some questions, asked her where I needed to go. She gave me those directions. I submitted the information. So the first thing is you have to register into the pharmacy gateway. And I just paid like $350 just to register into a gateway. I'm like, okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
expensive.
All right. So let us start writing down those
Yeah,
numbers.
right. I just
350.
started writing down that number. That was
All right.
350, right? Just to enter into the gateway.
Okay.
The next thing is to actually submit your document evaluation afterwards. And at the time, that was maybe $600, $700. I can't remember.
So we reach like $1,000
But
now, right?
yeah, we're already at $1,000. And this is just
Okay.
something, no preparation, nothing. It's just vibes and costing me a lot of money at the same time. And then the document evaluation would have taken, they said at least 8 weeks for that to get processed. And I needed that to be completed before I was eligible to sit the first exam, which is the evaluating exam. So that was the easy part, right? Just pay the money, get the documents together, submit it, you wait, and then
Did
you're
it
in.
actually take 8 months?
No, 8 weeks, not months.
8 weeks. Sorry, 8 weeks. The reason I'm
I
thinking
don't.
months is because I know somebody
No,
who
eight
is
weeks.
okay.
And at that time, yeah, I think it took about the 8 weeks for me to go ahead
Okay.
and get that. And
Okay.
honestly, I needed the time because I needed to now save more money to pay for the next
Yes.
exam because the time factor is one thing. These things cost money, real money, right? So I needed to get ready for what's going to happen when I needed to actually start preparing for the exams. Now,
Yeah.
at this time, I was maybe a pharmacist for about 4 years in Jamaica. So
Okay.
this is how much time has passed that I was just living life. And this is now 4 years since I had become a pharmacist. And the thought of needing to study for an exam again, I was not thrilled about that
Yes.
either, right?
Yes.
So there's that as well. Like, sure, it's all good and dandy. Oh, I want to be a pharmacist in Canada, but becoming a pharmacist in Canada is going to take some hard work. And it wasn't something that I was intentionally thinking about where I would have like mentally prepared to get ready for this journey, someone just happened to visit me at work, and then it just like triggered this off. So now I
So,
have
oh
to be
yeah,
like getting my brain warmed up, like, okay, girl, we're gonna have to go back into this study mode. And pharmacy school, though I love it, was very hard. I know the studying
yeah,
is going to really take effort from me. And I wasn't that committed to the journey. It was like,
right.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm going with the flow, seeing where it is that this goes. And so I didn't mind that it was going to take 8 weeks for the documents to get evaluated.
Okay, okay, that's good.
So when it is that I got the approval, I registered for the exam, and I believe that first exam was January of 2022 is when I took it the first time.
And this,
Oh,
sorry, is an
yes.
exam by a Canadian body. This is you're
Yes.
doing a Canadian exam.
Yes. So,
Okay.
and I forget I'm not speaking to my pharmacy audience. So let me do it for general purposes.
Yes, I'm the perfect audience because I have no
Thank
clue
you.
what.
Thank you. Okay. So the first thing is going to be, so this is the Pharmacy Examining Board of Canada, the PEBC for short.
Yes.
And what it is that they do, they help for international graduates to get to re-assimilate into Canada as a pharmacist without needing to go back to school. And that was the number one thing for Canada for me. I didn't have to go back to school. They had exams that I could take. Now it's 4 exams in total. So we have the first one is called the evaluating exam, and this is the entry to practice, or it's pretty much an evaluation of your entire pharmacy school knowledge to see
Okay.
overall, do you know the basics pretty
Yeah.
much. But then it's 4 years of pharmacy school condensed into one four and a
One
half hour
exam.
exam, right? That is a lot. 200 questions, 4.5 hours. Like, it is game time when you start to prepare for that. So yes, I did pharmacy school, but I did pharmacy school over the course of semesters over time. Nobody tried to
Yeah.
assess my knowledge all at once. So
Yeah.
that was like a very big exam for us to do, and that was our first one. So the
Yeah.
first one is the evaluating exam. At the time, it was offered twice per year, so in January and June. Currently, they have actually increased it to 4 offerings. So it's now January, March, June, and October because the demand
Okay.
has, I assume, gotten so high for
Okay.
the exams. And so they have included more opportunities for international candidates to sit it. So I was
Nice.
doing it in January of 2022. Once it is that I complete that first exam, then I get to move on to what we call the qualifying exams. And these are the same exams that Canadian pharmacy graduates will take as well. So the
Right.
first one is the MCQ Part 1 of the PEBC exam. And this is a more clinical based exam that is more in alignment to how it is that pharmacists practice in Canada. This is
Okay.
a multiple choice exam as well, 4.5 hours, 200 questions, much harder questions though. And then the second exam, we call it the OSCE exam, and this is a verbal oral exam. So you go in, you're doing about 10 stations where you're simulating patient scenarios, and you have to solve these cases as you would in practice. And I think
Okay.
that it's a great exam, but it's very nerve wracking because it's one thing to think under the exam pressure conditions in the
Yeah.
quiet of your mind. It's another thing when you need to be thinking out loud and you know that someone is assessing whatever it is that you're saying. Right. But so those are the two. And the Canadian graduates, they take these two exams as well.
Okay.
Once it is that you clear those exams, you move on to the fourth, which is going to be your jurisprudence. Now, Canada is subdivided into different provinces. So, similar to the United States, for example, where each state has its own laws and legislation. We have federal law and then we have provincial law. So the jurisprudence exam is a provincial exam specific to the laws that govern the province that you're going to be living
Okay.
in,
Got
right?
it.
So pretty much it's a pharmacy law exam specific to the rules and regulations of that province. And once it is that you have completed that, you will move on to the next step, which is an internship. And each
Okay.
province it differs for each province, the length of that internship. I am in Ontario, and mine took me 3 to 4 weeks to complete. For
Okay.
some provinces, it may take 3 months. I believe it goes up as high as 6 months, but that is the longest that I believe. Usually, it's a pretty short course, and that is pretty much you going into an actual pharmacy. You're supervised by a preceptor who assesses that you are performing competently and at a Canadian standard.
Okay.
Once it is that you successfully do that, then you can submit your application to become a licensed pharmacist in the province that you're in. So that's pretty much the overview of what the process actually is. It
Yeah.
was long to explain and even longer to
Of
actually.
course. When you're like, it's an overview, I'm like, that's an overview.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the gist of it.
Yeah, but that's
Right.
intense.
It
That's
is
so what
intense.
was it? What was it like for you now to, well, first of all, how was it on the first try? What
I
was it
failed.
like? So this, and that is the knowledge based one. That's the
Evaluate, yeah,
first
the
one.
one that assesses your entire pharmacy school knowledge.
One of the things I love about Khamoye's story, and she actually talks about it a little bit later in the video, is that she decided not to do it alone. And there's one thing that nobody really talks about on this immigration jungle. It's there is the cost of the plane ticket, getting your credential assessed, and even the paperwork. But nobody talks about the cost of doing it alone. One missed document, one wrong form, and it could cost you months or thousands of dollars, or even your whole goal of why you even came to Canada. A couple years ago, I created the Immigration Journey Partner Program for exactly this reason. It's group mentorship for people on study permits, work permits, or anybody who is trying to figure out the next step. We meet regularly, we troubleshoot real issues, and we help you to move through the immigration jungle with strategy, not panic. The link is in the description if you want to come and join us. Click it. Please don't try to do this alone. Now let's get back to Khamoye's story to hear how mentorship helped her.
I failed. I
Yeah.
failed. Why did I fail? I told you I was warming up my brain to start studying. I was not there. I wasn't taking. I was just like, I'm a pharmacist. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I know
Yes.
what I'm doing. But
Yeah.
like I said, they teach you a lot in pharmacy school, things that you don't
Yes.
use in your everyday practice
Yeah.
as a
Like
pharmacist.
school does.
So yes, there's a lot of things because pharmacy is a very diverse profession. There's a lot of different avenues and paths that you can take after you have completed school. This exam is testing all of that. So the clinical things that I did in my day-to-day community practice were not adequate for
Yeah.
me to do well in this exam. And I wasn't studying. I had my friend, she was calling me. She was asking if I was waking up when she was waking up at 3. I would answer the phone and go back to bed.
To
I was
sleep.
not I was not serious, right? So I failed. And I said, okay, cool. I was a joke. I accept my fail and I moved on. Now, the thing about this part of it, though, is that my same friend who was calling me when I needed to practice or we needed to be getting up studying, we had a group of maybe 7 of us that had
Okay.
come together to prepare for this exam. Now, she and I shared a very intimate moment on the exam day in the fact that she was having a lot of challenges logging on to her exam platform because also I did my exam in Jamaica because you can do it from anywhere in the world. This is offered online, which is great.
Yes.
And I highly recommend international pharmacists interested in transferring their skills to Canada to start the process in your home country.
Yes.
So she was having challenges with her platform. I did my exam, finished, brought her to my house to do mine because I wasn't having any challenges. And she was the only one who passed in that
Oh,
first sitting when it is that we did it. She had a really hard day, but she worked really hard and she passed. Um,
nice.
so when it is that that happened, I took that moment to be like, maybe that's why Canada has been in my heart. Like maybe she was really the reason why it was tugging on me for so long. And I thought I was supposed to go to Canada, but maybe I
Yeah.
was just here for this
Her.
moment. And I actually
Oh,
stopped thinking about Canada. Like
wow.
that experience was so impactful on me that I'm like, because I wasn't thinking about Canada, I wasn't doing anything intentional. And then like the moment that I started to think, I interacted with this person, we went on this journey together, and then that was the outcome. I was just like, maybe I wasn't going to Canada. Maybe I just needed to start the process to go to Canada
To
because I'm
help your friend.
there to transfer her over.
The sacrifice.
Like I was just like a sacrificial lamb, and I'm like, oh God, thank you for using me. And I moved on.
Yeah.
I enrolled into a master's program in the UK. Like that's how
Okay.
much I moved on.
Oh, wow.
It
Okay.
wasn't, I didn't give up. I didn't feel defeated or anything. I'm just like, my
You
work
felt
here
like
is,
your purpose was complete.
yeah,
My
my
work here
purpose
is
is
done.
completed.
On
Let me
to the
see what's
next.
happening let me see what's going on in the UK. And I enrolled. I paid for the tuition for the first semester and I started my program. But now there was a burden
Online.
on my friend. Yeah, yes, online. So I'm just doing these online things, just bouncing from goals to goals. Um, and she said to me, can you enter the express entry pool, please? I'm just like, why? Canada is not for me. Canada was for you. And she's just like, what do you have to lose? Just enter. It's free. And I'm like, okay. But Canada was now off my table. Like it was off my plate. I'm no longer interested. Um, but she was not letting me go. Like she wouldn't leave me alone. She kept on saying, enter the pool. Have you entered the pool? And I'm like, I have not. And she's like, okay, let's enter the pool together. So her husband, and myself came on a call together. And that's how it is that I did my express entry profile and I submitted it. Now, at the time, it was right back, post COVID, and everybody was in that pool for 2 years. So I'm like, okay, I can just enter this pool. My master's will be finished in 2 years. This is going to be a blip in the back of my mind. I entered the pool in the December. Why did IRCC reach out to me the February afterwards?
It was fate.
I'm like, okay, that's weird.
So this
So
is
I'm just
you
like,
being in the pool and receiving an invitation to apply for permanent residency.
no, to say that actually I received a PNP. I got a provincial nomination for Ontario.
Oh.
And then
So
I'm
the video
like,
that just went up yesterday was an
yes,
OINP success story, and now you're another OINP success story. Alert, alert,
yes,
alert.
alert, alert,
Okay.
alert. I'm like, and everybody like, they said Ontario was, the province that everybody wanted to be in. So when I
Yes.
saw Ontario reach out to say they were interested in my application, I'm like, not my
Okay.
dream province reaching out to me. Okay, Canada, maybe we're not done yet. So I went back, and so at this point, I failed the exam. I went ahead, did the application to go into the pool, got the response. So the first exam would have been January of 2022. That whole year would have then passed. I'm now in
Yeah.
December. So we're in the next year of like, um, we're in 2023 now, pretty much. Um, and I said, okay, Canada again. Let's go. So I did my provincial nomination and I submitted the profile. And then I went ahead and I registered back for the next exam to do the next exam for the June. So usually like the PNP, they give you like 2 months to get that, your documents and everything to submit it. So they'll actually offer it, right? Just as I submitted the PNP, I got my invitation to apply without the PNP result. So the PNP did not impact me getting an invitation to apply because my profile was not yet processed. So two separate things were happening at the same
At the
time.
same time.
So what it is that I did, I withdrew my PNP application to get a refund for that.
Oh,
And I just went
yes.
straight into express entry because they had a draw, and then the draw happened to drop to where my score was because I was at 484. And in express entry world, that point is too low to get called. And that's why you often need the PMP to help
P.
boost your score. So you'll definitely get through. but I didn't need it anymore. So I withdrew my application from the PMP
Okay.
because now I had my invitation to apply. And that was real fuel at this point because I'm like, okay, God,
Okay.
what's going on?
Yes.
So so now I was moving on from maybe to definitive, and I
Yeah.
was getting those documents ready, and now I'm like, okay, I need to take this exam
This
serious.
exam.
I'm all juiced up, I'm ready to study, and I'm studying this time around. And I did my exam in June, and I failed.
Perfect. Oh, wow.
And I failed it again.
Wow.
So my
And the,
first
and
year.
at that time the exam was only available twice a year.
Exactly.
And this is
So now
June.
I did it June. So the next time I could do it was February, it's the following January of the next year.
Wow.
But
Okay.
additionally, now I'm hurt
Yeah.
because the first time when I failed, I was just like, okay, because I knew I didn't put any effort in. I didn't put the
Okay.
effort I should have put into it. But this
Mm-hmm.
time, I believe that I did.
Yeah.
And now I'm questioning, girl, do you know what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Do these patients know you can't pass this exam? Because
Mm.
what's going on right now? And I've never seen
Yes.
myself as someone who is a failure.
Yeah.
I am accustomed to doing well, as most pharmacists are. And this is the reason why so many pharmacists, they get very defeated and disappointed
Discouraged.
on this journey
Yeah.
because nobody wants a C pharmacist. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want a pharmacist who was getting 60s and 50s in school. You want to know your pharmacist was probably on the honor roll, the dean's
Yeah.
list, getting some kind of awards at graduation, because this is really like life and death type of things, right? So I was just like, I really looked in the mirror and I'm like, Khamoye, what's happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
Mm.
So now all the other things were working. Like God was doing his stuff, and now I
Yes.
seem to not be able to do my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a moment to grieve. And by a moment, I meant a day. I took a day and I grieved
Mm-hmm.
that failure. That one made
Mm-hmm.
me cry.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, we're now in the process. Things are actually moving.
Mm-hmm.
You need to keep moving. So
Yeah.
grieve, but you got to shake this off.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my results today. Tomorrow, I signed up for the exam again
Again.
to do it for
Question
January.
for you. How much
Yeah,
does it cost to take the exam?
great question. Too much money. So for that evaluating exam, it costs somewhere between 800 to 900 Canadian for the cost of that one. And I'm about to pay it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, to do the exam, you need a prep course, and the prep course costs about $1,000. So this is like $2,000, right? The
Yes. So
great
first
thing
you,
about
you spent $1,000 already to do the evaluation and
yeah,
getting into the
getting into the
platform.
gateway, so document evaluation and the gateway, 1,000.
One exam, 900 or
Let's
800.
say nine
Exam
hundred.
number
Yeah.
two, 900. But the prep course, you only pay for it one time and you have it.
No. So with the prep course, you pay for it once. And I didn't pay for the prep course. I was winging it with my UTech notes the first time.
Okay.
So I didn't pay for it the first time. Big
Okay.
mistake. So the second time I did it, I paid for the prep course. And
Yeah.
then they give you one extension. So you don't, it's not lifetime access. You get it for two
Oh,
semesters.
okay. All right.
Yeah. You don't
So,
have
but
any.
then if you fail, then you get to extend it to the
I get it
next
to
in.
extend it. Yes.
Okay.
So since I
Okay.
paid for
Okay.
it in June, I would have access to the extension for when I was doing it in January. The only
Got it.
difference with the extension, the prep course also has live classes, and on the extension, you only have access to the recordings, which for me was not a problem.
Okay.
Persons do like access to the live classes because it helps. It's a form of accountability for them
Yeah.
to actually show up and do what they said they're going to do. But for me, that was no longer going to be an issue. I planned on showing up. So I had the recordings for the second one. But
Yes.
I did have to pay for there's no extension with the exam fee. I paid for that 3 times. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
900 times 3. Three sevens, three nines is 27, so $2,700
So
to
now we're
go.
at about 5,000 almost, 4,000,
We're
4,000.
well, we're at 2,700 and 1,000, so it's like 3,700 at this point, based on what I've already paid for. No, with the prep course included. Yeah, you're correct. 4,700. That's correct. We're almost at. Don't show me my receipts, Christina. I beg.
No, so I'm just helping people, right? So, because this is like, as told by experience, get it right the first time. Because,
Woo!
right? It's like, just get the prep course, just pay the $1,000, pay the thing there, do what you need to do. Because and this is real stuff, you know what I mean? Because I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes we're trying to save money and end up spending more money at the end of the day. Like my first visa was rejected, and I end up having to pay more money now to get it like to apply again to get a consultant. Just get the consultant, just pay the money, and save yourself $5,000.
No, and let us not forget the most important piece. I am in Jamaica, earning in Jamaican
Oh
dollars.
yes,
I'm paying all of this stuff in Canadian.
yeah. So that's like $500,000,
Okay.
right?
I didn't know I had that kind of money because I did not ask anyone. I didn't take any loans. Nobody gave it to me. This was me working my little butt off to pay for
Yeah.
these exams. So imagine it's also costing me. It's not someone, and I can't seem to get this right and to do what I need to do because
Yeah.
you know what? And this is what I tell persons
Yeah.
in mentorship. You're going to pay in something. You are either going to pay in money or you're going to pay in time. And if you're really not doing this right, you're going to pay both money and time. Because I
And
paid both.
stress. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the
So,
emotional journey, emotional, financial, practical journey
yes,
of trying to get there finally. And each of the
yeah,
exams cost about $800, $900. And there's 4 exams.
exactly. No, no, no. The exam costs are going up. We're just at evaluating. I will tell you what the others cost when we get
Okay.
there. Okay.
Okay.
One
Yes.
cost at a time. So right now you're writing it down for me. I'm at about $5,000. So my invitation to apply is going through. When I got my results, this is I did the exam in June, so the results came out in maybe like July or so. I got my approval for my PR in July. That process was completed.
All
So I
right.
failed the June exam, and this would have been 2023. I
Yeah.
failed, but I got my PR
The
approved
following
in
month.
July. Yes. So I'm jet set ready to go to Canada at this point. And I did not pass the exam. So now, before I go to the next step, here's something interesting that also happened. A high school friend who I haven't spoken to in 10 years since we would have left high school mysteriously emailed me when when I had put through my invitation to apply application, my PR application. And she was asking me, like, how I'm doing, how are things going? And I told her, like, I remembered in high school she was from Canada. And I thought, like, this is weird that she should be messaging me at this point and
The
emailing me at
signs
this
from
point.
above.
And when I told her about, I was just sharing what it is that was happening and I'm heading into Canada, she just said, I know that this process is really expensive. Once it is that you're ready to submit your PR application, just let me know. I'm gonna send you the money to pay for it. Unprovoked.
Because
Unprovoked.
you know what? I was going to mention that in a second. I was going to mention that. All right. Remember, there's this pharmacist stuff that you have to pay for, but you also have to pay like $1,095 for PR.
Yeah, it was $1,500 for the
Oh,
PR
1,500.
application.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm like, what? she's just like, yeah, it's no problem at all. Yeah, just let me know whenever it is that you're at that place and I'll send it for you because I know this process is really expensive. I immediately like just broke down on the call. No, after she hung up, I broke down because I'm like, God, this is like too much for me. You know, I
Yes.
can't
Too
handle
much
this
goodness,
level of
God.
work.
It's too good.
It's just like, this is bringing me down. Like, God, hold on. What's going on? And so when it is that now I had all my documents and everything and I was ready to pay, I'm like, and pride could have stopped me from actually
Yeah.
reaching out back because now it's been like maybe a few weeks or so since we had that chat. And I said, well, I'm going to find out if she was serious because I'm serious and it is expensive. And I had paid the 1,500 for the PMP and I was having challenges getting that refund. I could really use some help with 1,500 Canadian dollars right now. So I messaged her. I'm like, hey, girl, do you remember when you told me that when I'm ready to pay for the PR, you would do it for me? Is that offer still on the table? And she's just like, absolutely. Send me your information. And I sent her my information. She said, what's most convenient? And I'm like, oh, we can do Western Union. That's closest to me. She sent me that. So she's just like, yeah, I'm home now. I'll just do this on my laptop. Literally within that 30 minutes, she sent me my tracking number. And I was at work when she sent me that number. I just said, excuse me, I'm going on a break right now. I went to Western Union and I picked up the money. And when I saw the money like physically in my hand, tears again. I'm just like, this is not real life right now. Like, this is not real life. And that evening I went home, I submitted my PR application. She paid for it. And I kid you not, she was just like a little fairy godmother. She just came
My
in,
gosh.
did that, and she flew away. Like all the updates, it's just whenever I reach out to her and I tell her like how I'm progressing on the journey and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to see her since I've moved to Canada as yet, but it is still on my list of things to do because
Girl,
that
if you're watching this, y'all need to go for dinner. Hello, Fairy.
hello.
Godsend. Y'all need to
No,
go for dinner,
honestly,
lunch,
it
coffee,
was
something.
just I will never forget that. Like that was the
Yeah.
most insane experience
Wow.
ever.
Yeah.
Insane. So more fuel to just get
Yeah.
back, brush myself off. We're gonna try again with this
Yeah.
exam. So I went ahead, I registered for my January exam, and I am locked in. Like I've never been locked in before. I told my family, don't talk to me. I'm not available for anything. Right. I at this point I downsized. I started to downsize because now Canada
You're
2024,
moving.
here I come. I had to leave in February of 2024 because my passport so thoughtfully decided to expire in 2024. So I had to get in before it expired, or else I would have to do over the entire process again. So I had a date. I knew I had to go. So I'm doing the January 2024 exam and and I need to be in Canada for February 2024. And it's full speed ahead at this point. So that's what I did. I downsized. I wasn't living at home at the time. I moved back home, so I was able to just have that study, that focus, that support, and emotionally, because you know that this is a very emotionally tasking process. Had I
Yeah.
been in Canada, to be navigating all of what I was experiencing would have just been too hard. So this is the reason why I encourage international pharmacy graduates, start the process in
From
your
home.
home country. You will have like that family support. You're going to have your routine, things that are familiar to you, because I had my family, I had like my routine. I was still able to work. I'm not struggling to get a pharmacy assistant position or to work in a fast food joint. I was still doing a pharmacist.
Yeah.
So I felt, aligned because I was still doing the thing that I love while I was preparing to make this transition. And I believe that that made all the
The
difference for me.
difference. That's good.
Um,
Yeah.
and so when it was through that experience, the third time when I needed to do it, I developed a study strategy that worked. And now in the mentorship, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but just to preempt it a little bit, that is how it is that now started off that process from happening to start happening, because I said I knew all the things I did wrong,
Yeah.
and now I know all the things that I need to do if I want to pass this exam. And
Yes.
so in January 2024, when I took the evaluating exam for the third time, when I came out of my exam, I was just like, I killed it. I wasn't even questioning if I knew, because
Yeah.
the exam that was beating me up so bad those last two times felt easy the third time that I did it. And I just moved on in peace. I'm like, Canada, here
Here I
I
come.
come.
Yes.
Here I come. So that is how it is, that I feel like the evaluating exam was my biggest hurdle. And
Hurdle.
yes, it came with a lot of failures. And I talk about it a lot to my pharmacist community about failing, because a lot of times when international pharmacists fail, they
Fail.
think it's
They
the
give
end
up.
of their journey. But it's only a failure if you quit and you stop moving forward.
Yeah.
Take the lessons. There were lessons for me to learn. I needed a lot of refinement. I was not ready.
Yes.
I thought,
Yes.
oh, this is just something that I want to do. And I felt like I could just do it. But no,
Yeah.
I needed to be mentally ready. And the truth is, I was not mentally ready for what I said I wanted to do. And
Yeah.
those failures helped me to get ready, because now I'm not just doing it because it sounds cool to say, oh, I want to move to Canada. I'm Canada because I want to be a pharmacist in Canada, and I want to be an excellent pharmacist. And so I needed to have excellent actions to back up what I was saying.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And there you have it, folks. Wow, what an amazing journey. And of course, God showed himself to you, right? In every step of the way, even when it was like probably the darkest part of night, right?
Yeah.
The light shone. I do want to, in my thinking, of course, knowing that, all right, you studied pharmacy in Jamaica 4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking about coming to Canada, and you mentor people who are probably in their country or probably in school in Canada, doing some pharmacy program in Canada.
Right.
Set aside the cost, because we know, say, if you're going to study in Canada, you know how much it's going to cost, right?
Yeah.
But do you think that there is an advantage for folks to study in Canada, even if they have a bachelor's already, to study in Canada, even in the 1 year pharmacy community program, or is it a waste for them to do that? Is there an advantage? I'm guessing there's pros and cons, of course.
Right.
But do you think that that is a helpful step towards, one, preparing for the exam, since your brain kind of, slow leak, but also like even integrating into Canadian culture, society, job market, network, all of that wonderful stuff. And then I'm going to get to you actually integrating, but just that school bit. What do you think?
So I have not personally done and I assume you're referring to the bridging program that they have for pharmacists, if it is that they want to transition here, or are you talking
Well,
about when graduates come in as like students and they do a 1-2 year program? If I think that's helpful, just to clarify.
so I'm talking more about the 1-2 year program, because I am unaware of any bridging program. But my
Okay.
follow-up question to that, is there any kind of bridging program? I do have that as a follow-up question. So either
Okay.
or, whatever you think makes sense in your world, because I don't know, I'm clueless, right?
Okay. So you said to set cost aside, but the costs have to come back on the table.
I know.
Because that is the key thing of why I would say what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
It costs too much. The difference between, and this is if, let's say, if you're coming in as an international student versus if you're coming in as a permanent resident, my answer
Yeah.
would also change, because school is a lot more affordable if you are a permanent resident versus if you are an international student. For me, you as a pharmacist, you already possess the credentials that they want to get you in as a PR. Now, previously, when we were having a conversation, you had mentioned to me some of the challenges that sometimes it's just not that straightforward, especially when it is that you have potential immigrants who, things like their age, their
Mm-hmm.
job experience makes it difficult, makes their points lower, getting into the pool for PR. And I do understand that that is a limitation for some persons, and going through the student route might just be what they need to get their foot in. And I hold
Mm-hmm.
space for that. But I will
Yeah.
always encourage pharmacists to try the PR route, direct PR route, because actually a lot of them were not aware they could just do the
Yeah.
PR route
Mm-hmm.
directly, because when I
Mm-hmm.
moved, a lot of persons assumed I was a student. And
Yeah.
I said, no, I came here as a PR.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that persons really should go ahead. And even if you think, because for me, my score was low, I could have assumed I couldn't get
Yes.
in because my
Mm-hmm.
score was too low, but I
Yeah.
got in. The
Mm-hmm.
You just need, and you see, if you're not in the pool, you do not have a chance. And I say,
Yep.
get in the pool,
Mm-hmm.
right? Get in the pool. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know when the economy of Canada might take a dip and they say, you know what? I really need this thing. And they need pharmacists.
Mm-hmm.
Canada needs pharmacists. And I was just there at the right time when the pool took a dip, because I don't think I've seen it go that low since. And I was in the pool
It's
because,
never
just
been
like
low.
the lotto ticket, if you do not
Yep.
have a ticket, you do not
You
have a
can't win.
chance.
Mm-hmm.
Get into the pool
Mm-hmm.
and try
Mm-hmm.
it first. That way, try it and let it fail. And then you can say, I have to explore other things.
Yep.
As it relates to going to school in order to like feel comfortable as you're assimilating into the society, I don't think that you have to go to school in order to get that. I did not go to school, but I've still been able to integrate into the society.
Okay.
Sometimes we need to just start looking at the resources. And one of the things that I did, as I was getting ready to move to Canada, I started to follow a lot of Canadians to see
Mm-hmm.
what's happening in Canada, what's going on. Not TikTok, because TikTok was giving me doom and gloom,
Yeah.
but I wanted to see, I wanted to see like what was the practice of pharmacy like in Canada. What are the
Mm-hmm.
questions that Canadians are having when they go to the pharmacy? Pharmacy is very specific to geographical locations, so I started to look for like what are the chronic conditions, what are the acute things that these patients are having, what are the things that I see Canadian pharmacists talking about. I never used LinkedIn in Jamaica. I never needed it, or I didn't think I needed it when I was in Jamaica. But when I moved, I'm just like, LinkedIn is always something I hear
Mm-hmm.
people talking about. And I feel like in North America, networking is a
Magic.
much bigger thing. So I fixed up my LinkedIn profile while I was still in Jamaica. And
Yep.
then I started to connect with persons in Canada, pharmacists in Canada, not necessarily having conversation, but I wanted to see what the dialogue was looking like in this area. I changed my location to Canada so that it would shift and give me Canadian content, because that's what I wanted. And that's how it is that I started to like build that experience, so to speak. I created this virtual bubble, like I was assimilated into the society, so that I could change my mind and shift my mind to understanding, okay, what's actually happening here. And I feel like that was very
Yeah.
beneficial for me, because then when you see the
Mm-hmm.
conversations that people are having on the ground, then it helps you to shift your focus on, you're not in Jamaica anymore. This is what is actually going into Canada. And then that helps me when I was preparing for my exam, because now I know what my exam is expecting of me based on that I was seeing. So I think
Yes.
it's okay. School is a pre-assembled package, and it gives it to you and you feel like this is what you need. But how many times do we hear that people are book smart but not street smart? You don't know what's happening on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're
Mm-hmm.
having to do this research, it takes more time, effort, and intentionality, because you have to know what you're looking for to know when you find it. And I feel like
Yep.
persons find that very difficult to do, but you're gonna start having to
Yeah.
think outside of the box if it is that you want to be successful in Canada for sure.
Awesome. 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 And I want to touch on a point there because you said pharmacists are in demand. We know that at a federal level,
Yeah,
pharmacists are on the list of in demand occupations, and that some provinces and some communities that participate in the other rural and pilot programs, right? And
right.
so we know that on paper, this is what it is. Okay. When you were entering the job market, did you find that to be true? Were there jobs waiting for you once you got licensed?
Okay. So let me continue my licensing story and then I can answer this question that you have here. So, February 2024, I'm in Canada with the
Okay. And
expectation
you
to
only
do,
have one exam done, which means that you
and I
don't have a
only have one
license
exam
yet.
done. I have four more to go. So, since I moved,
Four,
my
not
plan,
three?
sorry, I have three more to go because there's four in total. That's correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
Thank you. Um, Here's what I want you to, and let me paint you a picture. So I'm in Ontario, and so the bridging program that I mentioned before is literally that. It's a bridge if it is that you're an international graduate with no Canadian school experience to get you exposed to what life in Canada or pharmacy practice in Canada can be like. The program also costs
Okay.
about $15,000 and it's 8 months, right, to get that done. And I asked, does this give me a bump up in my B Farm degree that I already have? They're just like, no, this doesn't do anything. It's just something to do if you don't pass the exams on the first try. Now, the exams in question is the qualifying exam number 2 and 3. If you fail either of those exams and you want to practice in Ontario, you have to do the bridging program, right? Um,
Okay. Okay.
Initially I was thinking, yes, I would definitely want to do the bridging program. But then after my failures and all of that, I'm just like, I don't want to do this bridging program and I want to avoid it at all costs. So when I moved to Canada February, I moved on the 24th of February in 2024. I said, I'm taking that first week to myself. And on March the 1st, it is game time because I'm going to be doing both those exams at the same time. Because I'm like, I'll be home, I'll be a full time student. I just moved. I need to get this going. And this is me coming off of like two failures, right? With my previous exam. But I'm like, I'm now ready. My mindset is completely different than when I initiated this process. So I locked in for those 2.5 months because the exam is May. So March, April, and it's like at the end of May. So just shy of 3 months to prepare for these two exams, which are actually harder than the first exam. And I needed to pass them on my first try. Let's talk about
Yes.
cost.
No pressure. No
No
pressure.
pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
Because if I fail this, it's going to cost me $15,000
Fifteen
to fix
thousand
this.
dollars. And
To
this is
fix this.
$15,000 even if you're a domestic student.
Yes, this is one
Even
cost because it is geared towards international pharmacies. So there is no domestic and international. This is just the
oh.
price.
Mm,
This is just the
okay.
because it's
All
already
right.
targeted to international. So they're treating us international regardless of our actual status, right?
Yes.
So I come in. I'm not even try. I already decided like I'm not gonna be working for the first 3 months until after this exam. I wasn't even attempting to find any jobs because I just organized my finances to support myself for that time. So let's talk about the moving costs that IRCC asks you to show proof of funds. Don't lie about your proof of funds. You actually need
Yeah.
your proof of funds.
You need it.
You need your proof of funds. Don't pretend you have those funds because that's what's going to bite you in the butt when you move, and you may need some time before you actually get to work. Actually have your proof of
Yes.
funds. Yes, that's important.
Yes. Very
So I
good
plan to
point.
be home. Yes,
Listen.
I plan to be home and study. So I was just like, I wasn't even attempting to try to find anything. I was going to be living with some in-laws of my sister at the time. So I had that covered. I'm just like, okay, I have
Yeah.
everything that I need to do what I needed to do. Lock in, focus time, cost of exams. So the MCQ exam costs around the same 900 or $1,000 for that. So it was similar to the cost of the evaluating exam. The OSCE exam
Okay.
costs about $1,800. So it was twice the cost for the OSCE because it's a verbal exam. There's a lot more manpower
Yeah.
to get that exam done, so it
Yeah.
costs twice the cost. So the exam
Yeah.
cost is almost $3,000 to pay for the exam itself. I need the prep course for these two things, and the prep course for both were about $1,500 each. So that's $3,000 to get ready for the exam too. So that was $6,000 worth of exam fees right there if I wanted to do this all at once. Now, I recommend my mentees to do both exams at the same time if they can afford it, because the two exams complement each other. It's just that one is written and
Yeah.
one is verbal, but the type
One
of
is verbal.
content and what they're
Yeah.
assessing is similar. So they go hand in hand. And rather than you having to study for the exams twice, you can just study them in one sitting to produce the same outcome, right? So I went ahead and I got that done. Um, so that's $6,000 gone. Great. So this is $6,000 in total. And because both exams complement each other, I do encourage my mentees that if they're able to afford to do both at the same time, to do that, because it's a benefit to them, and it cuts the time. Because remember, the exams, this one is only offered May and November at the time when I was taking the exam, and so you would have to do one in May, and then you would have to wait until November to do the other. And I'm like, I could be licensed in November, so I'm just doing both of them in May right now. So that's what I did. Um, Now, the second thing is that I've now moved to Canada. I'm physically here, and now emotional side of it. I was losing it a little bit as I was studying, and I did not know why. I feel like you're excited. I'm happy to be here. I was comfortable where I was. I had what I needed, but I think my mind was just wondering, when are you going home? I feel like I didn't like my body was still playing catch up to the change of the environment, and I wasn't outside, so it's not the weather.
Yeah.
I wasn't like uncomfortable, so I'm not stressed. I'm not worried about work because I didn't plan to, but I was just not feeling okay. And in those last two
Yeah.
months for my exams, I woke up every morning crying, like every single morning,
Mm.
just crying for like an hour, um, with no reason as to why, what's happening, what's
Why?
going on.
No understanding as to why. Yeah.
Yes, no understanding of like what's wrong with you? And then I didn't share
Yeah.
that with anyone, no friend, no family, because I felt like they would just start to worry about what was happening. Not even the persons that I was living with, because I just felt like I didn't even know what to say if someone should ask me why I'm feeling like that. And of course, if someone sees you like that, they're going to think something is happening. But the truth is, I don't know why I was
Yeah.
experiencing that. So what I actually had to do was I got enrolled into therapy at that stage, because I'm just like, I can't have this derail me from the very real threat of my exam looming. And I probably just need like an unbiased person who is not going to be seeking to comfort me or make me feel better, who will just be there to talk and to kind of like help me walk through whatever the emotions it is that I was experiencing. And in hindsight, I just think it
Yeah.
was just the change in my environment, like just the immigration shift,
Yeah.
where I was adjusting mentally. I adjusted, I changed my location physically, but still I think like my mind just needed time to really understand what was truly going on, even though it knew. um and I just had to let myself like process those emotions and just like
Yeah.
ride the wave. And that can
Yeah.
also feel very overwhelming for an immigrant, especially a pharmacist immigrant, as they're preparing for their exam. And that's when they'll start to feel, did I
Yes.
make the right decision? Is it the right thing that I did to do that?
Yeah.
Because imagine having feeling like that, but I was looking for a job that I could not get, or you are now in a living situation that is very uncomfortable, or you're running out of money for things that you need to do, and your exams are very costly. Also, I got scammed when I just moved to Canada, scammed out of like $5,000 trying to do some online job work thing, which we will not get into at this time, but I got scammed. So I was kind of navigating a few things at the time. But overall, I didn't feel like I had any reason to need to get up and cry every single day. and I needed help.
Yeah.
And so I got myself
Mm-hmm.
into therapy, which is one of the
Good.
greatest things
Yeah.
about Canada, I feel. Their access to mental health resources. It has been game changing. I still do therapy consistently every week, even now.
Yeah.
So since I've been
Mm-hmm.
here, and it has been absolutely wonderful. And I do encourage
Good.
immigrants to go ahead and access mental health services. I know, especially if you have a predominantly Black audience, we don't talk about mental health enough in Black families. And not every single thing you can just wake up and shake off. Some things do need
Yeah.
professional intervention for us to get help. There are very real problems with your mind. And just the same way that we would treat a chronic condition like hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, your mind, your brain is an organ. It's not something tangible. We can't touch it, but it affects
Mm-mm.
us so much. So
Mm-hmm.
get some help if you need help. It's
Mm-hmm.
totally okay if you need help. And especially to my
Yes.
men, you don't need to be a strong man.
Yes.
You need emotional
No.
intelligence, just like us women who are emotional
Mm-hmm.
crybabies. And yes, you won't cry. Like I cry about everything. And as men, they won't cry about everything, but they still need like the access to that help. And so mental
Yeah.
health, mental health, mental health.
Yes. And if I could stick a pin right there,
Yes.
because this comes to my topic of post-immigration stress disorder.
Yes.
Because even though immigration wise, your thing was pretty smooth sailing for the most part,
Yes.
right? Even if there were
Yes.
like blips there, here and there, you didn't have to fight that battle. But the licensing process and getting licensed in a regular provision is similar in terms of the paperwork and the processes. And it's so easy to hyper focus on that, right? I need this thing to be
Yes.
able to succeed in Canada and think about the logistical side of
Yes.
moving and not think about the emotional side. And very soon, the emotional side will catch up to you, whether you like it or not, right? And like you said, the brain is an organ, but if you break your foot, we know that, all right, you need some painkillers, set back the foot, you'll be
Yeah.
better in 3 to 5 business days. The
Exactly.
brain is not like that because, like you said, what's wrong with you anyway? Why are you
Exactly.
crying? It's not as straightforward. And so,
No.
taking time to acknowledge that there is an emotional component to transition. There is an emotional side to moving and changing country. Routine is different. The people around you is different. The amount of sunshine you're getting is different.
Yes.
Everything is different. And definitely you need to acknowledge that. And you will have to anyway. So either you acknowledge it upfront or after. But I think even just knowing that
Yeah.
this is something that you're going to have to think about could probably even help you prepare a little bit better on
Yeah.
how to manage it. So now you're saying that you went to
Exactly.
therapy, so maybe that is something that somebody looks out for from the get-go, right? Find
Yes.
yourself in community, network, talk to people,
Yes.
and try to navigate those emotional waters. Very, very, very important. Because like you said, it can derail your whole thing, mash up everything. Everything just mash up.
Exactly. Exactly. And now, like, I am so
Yeah.
laser focused on passing these exams. Like, I'm just like, I don't have time for a mental breakdown right now. Like, I don't have time for a mental
No,
breakdown.
no.
And like you said, when you
Yes.
become like you're hyper fixated on the outcome that you need, you will neglect, but it's gonna like your body will shut down on you. And I am not about to
Mm-hmm.
break down on account of this journey is stressing me. So I'm like, and again, that mental prep before I moved, I knew I'm just like in North America, they take mental health so much more serious. It was harder for me to access therapists in
Yes.
Jamaica. It's going to be more affordable in Canada. That was on my bingo card already. I already pre planned going ahead to access therapy services in Canada because I felt like mental health is taken a lot more serious in North America. It's going to be more affordable, more
Yeah.
accessible. So I knew, but I was just like, after my exams, I'm going to go into that. But I needed it right away. And so I just dived right in to go ahead and get that done. And I'm really happy that I did because it made a world of a difference having someone to talk to
Mm-hmm.
as I was navigating that exam
Yeah.
process. And so I believe that that also definitely helped me to pass as well because I acknowledged that I was struggling. So
Yeah.
moving into
Good.
the exams, I did both of the exams and I did pass both of my exams together, which was amazing. So no bridging program. The worst is
No
behind me.
$15,000.
No, $15,000. I could move into the next phase of my life. So, what happened when I passed? And is the dream that they're selling us that you need pharmacists real? So, I
Oh,
did my exam in May. I got my results the 8th of July. And by the 28th of
ew.
July, I
Oh
had
my gosh, you have to
signed
wait so long to know
my.
if you pass or fail?
Yeah, it takes 6 weeks to know for this exam because again,
Yeah.
the oral exam I think takes a
Yeah.
little longer for them to process because the previous one was 3 weeks. The first exam was 3 weeks, but this one it takes 6 weeks. And honestly, like I said, I can use the time. It always feels like go, go, go.
Yeah.
I want the information right now. But after what I've been through those last 3 months in preparing for this exam, it was nice to simply need to wait. There is purpose in that waiting period to rest and recover because once you get the results, the next phase begins and you need time to recoup. Don't regret,
Yeah.
don't hate on how long it takes. And the candidates, they get very anxious. I'm like, go live your life, go chill, go sleep,
Mm-hmm.
spend time with your
Mm-hmm.
friends, spend time with your family, you know. So when I
Yeah.
did get my results in July the 8th, by July 28th I had signed a job contract for a job as a emergency assignment pharmacist at the time because we had that available in Ontario. It is no longer available. So to ask, is the demand there? As they say, yes, it is 1,000% there. Nobody is chasing you down to give you a pharmacy assistant role, but they will chase you for that pharmacist role.
For a
How did I get my
pharmacist.
job?
Okay.
I started to connect with recruiters on LinkedIn. I had someone who had reached out to me, funny enough, while I was still living in Jamaica. And I told her that I'm still going through the exam process and I'm not physically in Canada as yet. But once it is that I have completed, I will reach out. So when I did complete my exam, I went ahead and I started to submit some documents to the Ontario College of Pharmacists to get that process rolling so that once my results were in, that's all I would need to set up. And I reached out to the recruiter to let her
Mm-hmm.
know. So even though I didn't know if I passed or fail, I still use that time to just get things ready. So once I have the tangible
Good.
results, everything is already prepared and it's just time for me to move into the next step. So I talked, I connected, updated my resume. Please get somebody who can help you to update your resume if you don't know how to do it. I personally used a platform, I think it was called like Resume Builder, that shows you how to set up your template for a Canadian resume. The thing about it is the fanfare, the picture, the this, the that, the color, like get rid of all of that. Stick to the facts because oftentimes your resume is like sent through a software and the software doesn't
Yeah.
want to see your color, your fonts. Like keep it so boring.
Basic.
Stick to keywords so that it can pick up things that match the title because it's likely not a human being. It's a robot that's probably processing your resume. And that's what it is. Like I said, do a lot of research about what's happening where you are. You need to know what Canadians are doing and do that. Don't do what you used to do in your home country that worked. You need to know what works here. So I did my resume, got that done. The job was ready. I got my results in July. I got my job offer at the end of July. I moved to the city that I currently live in for the ending of August, and I began my life as a pharmacist in September. Mind you, I still had more things to do before I was officially a pharmacist, but life definitely started to move in a completely different direction once I passed my second and third exams. I hadn't even done the fourth as yet, but and the trajectory has just continued to be up since,
Awesome. So you don't need the fourth exam to get licensed, or you do?
right? Once it is that I had completed my exam, I was up to exam number 3. At the time for Ontario, they had what was called an emergency pharmacist assignment. And what that meant is that once you would have completed those qualifying exams, which is the MCQ and the OSCE, you had the opportunity to practice as a pharmacist emergency, and this was coming out of COVID. So you would technically be operating in the capacity of a pharmacist until you completed that law exam, the pharmacy law exam, and also completed your internship, because you were pretty much at the end of the process. Very little could go wrong at this time. And having completed the exams, you would have satisfied their requirement that you have the competency to actually practice as a pharmacist. So that's what
Right.
happened for me. So even though I had those two last steps to complete, I was able to work in the capacity of a pharmacist until I got that completed. So I literally got to experience the best of both worlds at the time that I was getting licensed. Um, and that in itself caused a complete uproar in the pharmacy community, because a lot of IPGs were not pleased that the emergency assignment role was being removed. But remember, it's only supposed to tie you over until you get
Emergency.
licensed, right? So you shouldn't need that assignment for more than 3 months to just complete the last stages. But then what happened is that, and this is the thing about human beings, if you give them an inch, they're taking the whole yard every single time, because pharmacists stopped moving forward. They had the assignment and kept renewing it rather than completing the
Oh,
process to be licensed. So you
right.
had pharmacists as emergency pharmacy assignment status for 2, 3 years, because it came into effect for COVID,
Yeah.
which happened in 2020. And in 2024, why are you still doing this? How is it that, like, you have lost sight of the goal? And so now we had a lot of pharmacists now scrambling to get relicensed, because it is that
Oh,
the designation was going to expire the November of 2024, or October of 2024. I can't remember, but it was going to be expiring, and they were trying to lobby and advocate for it to remain. And I'm just like, why? That is not what you came here for. Finish the process, you know? So at that time, so I started working in September. I was in the emergency assignment position, and then that gave me time to complete my PACE.
the
We
law.
call it PACE for us in Ontario, which is pretty much just a pharmacy internship. And for me, it took me 4 weeks to
Okay.
complete that. The great thing about, the internship is unpaid in Ontario. And so, because I had a job, the great thing about that is I was able to continue working. My boss was very accommodating. And of course, he would be, because he wants me to have my pharmacist role, because I can't work by myself without other pharmacists in the pharmacy. So, it
Right.
was a limitation there.
Yeah.
So, he was very accommodating for me to get the time to do that and make a schedule that worked for me to have that and to continue working. Where it is that the Pace Pharmacy was and I kid you not, a 10-minute walk from my house, which
Look
was
at that.
amazing.
Perfect.
um, and so I was able to get that done. And then I did my jurisprudence exam. And so by the ending of November, just going into that time, I was able to finish all the steps and submit my pharmacist application. And then I officially got licensed in Canada in December of
Ooh.
2024. And funny enough, my first pharmacist license in Jamaica was in December, and I thought it was so interesting that coming to Canada, it was also in December. So December is just my registration month as a
Yeah.
pharmacist, and I have been a pharmacist in Canada finally. Through the confetti, it was such a relieving moment when I finally got the email that said, "Welcome to the Registry of Pharmacists in Ontario." Still a very happy moment for me. Very proud of
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, congratulations
Thank you.
months later. But it obviously was a long, hard road and there were hiccups along the way, and good on you for enduring and getting through. And now what you do with your time is, alongside being a pharmacist, is that you are helping other IPGs get into their exams, hold them accountable, pass the exams. If you want to talk to me a little bit about your mentorship program.
So along the way, and this would have started from when I was going to do the evaluating exam
Right.
in Jamaica the third time.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my colleagues and myself decided that we were going to create a WhatsApp group to help persons who were going along on this journey. Now, at the time, my friends who I did the group with, they had already passed the first three exams. They were already physically in Canada or almost about to move as well. I was the one still doing the first exam, but we came together based on the experiences that we have. We have this WhatsApp group, and everybody is looking for a study group to get ready for the exams. And so we decided that we were going to share what it is that we have learned along the way to these potential IPGs. The thing about me specifically is looking back, I'm realizing that I was functioning in two roles simultaneously, where I was being a mentee, where I needed persons to give me advice, but then
Yeah.
I was also mentoring because I had failed it twice before. So I had some
Right.
advice to give as well for
Mm-hmm.
here's what
How
you don't
not
want
to
to
do.
do if it is that you want to be successful. And so that group started off in 2023. Officially, when it is that I went ahead and I passed my evaluating exam the January of 2024. So also I needed to pay attention to my timeline with my exams. I did my EE January 2024. I did the MCQ and the OSCE in May of 2024. And then in December of 2024, I was licensed. My
Yeah.
entire process was just in under a year. So it
Mm-hmm.
was 10 to 11 months for me to complete it once it is that I got serious. So it does
Mm-hmm.
not need to take you years. If you are
Yeah.
really serious and focused, you can get this done in less than 12 months because that's
Yes.
actually what happened for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But going back to the mentorship, so when I did my exam in January, we had a June cohort getting ready for the June 2024 exam. So at this point, I would have done my two exams in May. And so I had some time now to help to
Okay.
really pour into this group during that like 6 weeks while I was waiting. We had seven persons that were in that WhatsApp group getting ready for the June exam. Nine
Mm-hmm.
persons, sorry, in that WhatsApp group getting ready for the June exam. And I'm very pleased to report seven persons out of the nine passed, and five of them were doing it for the very first time.
Very good.
So when I saw that happen, I'm like, okay, something is happening here. This is giving, I can now extrapolate what I have learned and gained. And then my friends and I can extrapolate what we have gained and
Mm-hmm.
learned and gained along the way and
Mm-hmm.
package this into a product that we can
Yes.
help other international pharmacy graduates to now become successful on their journey as well, to
Mm-hmm.
filter out all of the trial and error, and let's just go to straight action and things that are actually going to work.
Yeah.
So this is 2024. So this is June. And by October of that year, we went ahead and we created a mentorship product where it is that we were now offering mentorship services to persons for all three of the exams over a 16-week period to
Nice.
get to pass on their first try. Um, Actually, so yesterday, the 19th, we officially marked our 1 year
1 year.
anniversary of doing that
Congrats. I saw that
together,
on
which
LinkedIn.
is amazing. Yes. So, and over that time, we have been able to help 51 IPGs along their relicensing path. It has been such a rewarding experience because what it is that you learn through mentorship is that everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
And similar to my own, where the book stuff, the work, and all of that, like the studying, the early mornings, late nights, all of that is a part of the process. But what was the
Yeah.
most important thing for me to be successful was that I had community along the way. I had
Yes.
persons that were I could call on, even if it was like my paid therapist, or if I needed to call my family back home, or if it is that I could go ahead and lean on my co-founders with this company as well. Like I needed community along the way. And because I tell you that pharmacists are accustomed to doing well, when we start to fail, we get very embarrassed and we go into ourselves and we hide.
Yeah.
And we don't want to tell people that we're failing or we're not doing well or we're not able to achieve the thing that we wanted to achieve. But the statistics on the PEBC website tell us exactly what's happening, because less than 40% of international pharmacy graduates pass those exams. And the statistics are right there on the website. We know you are failing. You don't need to tell us. We know you are struggling. But here's a program designed to not only help you stay accountable to your study goals, but to also see you as a human being, because we understand that immigrating is a very hard process. And as you mentioned earlier, we will be so laser focused on trying to achieve this outcome, which is to pass the exam.
Yeah.
We ignore the emotional and social stressors that can actually hinder us from being successful.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest feedback that I have seen with mentees who go through our program is that the thing that helped them the most wasn't the study resources that we provided, not the accountability, but it was the ability to hear that other people are struggling and having a hard time with this process as well. And that gives them comfort because it
Yeah.
removes that isolation component where they lie to themselves to say, I'm the only one having a hard time.
Yeah.
I'm the only one having a hard. No, we are all having a
All
hard
right.
time. Even me, who is on the other side, as you can see, I went through my own fire,
Yeah.
but the fire wasn't to destroy, the fire was to refine. And if
Yes.
that you allow the fire to refine you, you are going to be so successful when it is that you become a pharmacist and you're practicing in Canada, because the dream they sold you, it exists, but you're going to have to build it. And in this AI world, not many people are thrilled when they have to still build things from scratch.
On their
But
own.
on their own, ChatGPT cannot help you. Gemini cannot help you. You're going to have to build it, and it takes hard work, intentional work, disciplined work, focused work to be successful. I am a living testimony that you can fall and fall again, but just brush yourself off, get back up, and keep going forward. Keep showing up for yourself. And you have to have a rock solid why. Why
Yeah.
are you doing this? Because if you do not have a strong why, you are going to get washed up, burnt out, and you're going to think, you know what? Let me hop over, do a UK master's because this is clearly not for me. Don't be like me. Don't be
Beautiful.
like me.
Yes, and that's an amazing message as we actually land the plane here. And there is a signature question that I ask a lot of people. Can you hear that? My my printer is deciding that this is the moment to do an update. This is the moment. This is the moment.
Don't
Can
you
you hear
just
it?
love life? I can. I thought it was like a dog
Yeah,
walking, but
it's
I don't
definitely
think it's
not.
super loud. But if you want to wait until
I'm gonna wait. This is a
they
blooper
think
reel.
that this is
Bloopers reel.
alive. The bloopers are so funny though. Like, can we
I
keep
know.
them?
I know, right? Well, no, I'll put together a blooper
No,
reel.
this
That's
is
what I'm
a
gonna
life.
do.
This is a life. You're trying to prepare for your Canadian journey, and then you're just
The
gonna
printer
spill, mess up
updates
your
in the
shirt.
middle of
Like
it.
your printer is
Yep.
just gonna decide.
Yep.
Now is the time to
Are you done?
update. Your
Are you done?
internet is gonna crash.
Yes. Yes, it
Actually,
is.
one thing that I tell my mentees, and it's my favorite thing to tell them, I said, when you start on this journey, prepare for life to
To
life
life.
like it has never lifed before.
Yes. 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 You best be prepared, okay? All kind of things
Okay,
where you never even think could have happened are gonna happen.
they're happening right now, right? But remember, the weapons, they will form, they just will not prosper.
Hallelujah.
There we go.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now to my signature question. What
Yes.
is one thing, you get to choose one, of all of the things, One thing that you wish you knew before you came to Canada.
Um, Before I came to Canada, meaning like something that I've experienced here,
Well, before you came to Canada, if you
or
knew
like,
this one thing, it would have made a difference in your journey.
okay, and no bias to me being a mentor. The one thing that I wish was available was having a mentor to guide me along the process. Somebody who could do what I'm doing now. I really wish that I had that prior to coming to Canada. Um, Hindsight vision is always 2020, but it would just be great if it is that and I mean, I was putting a lot of things together and doing my research and putting it all there. But so many times I wish, man, if I had one of the mentors from this mentorship company helping me, I would have done that and invested. I skipped on investing in like the prep course, and I needed somebody to tell me, don't do that. Invest, pay the money now. It would have saved
Mm-hmm.
me a lot of time and heartache and stress. Yeah, so that's the one thing that everything else about Canada, I think it has been great. Nothing has really like caught me off guard. I wish people told me though that Canadians hate the winter more than immigrants hate the winter. I thought it was us that was going to that were would have been really fighting out the winter, but you ain't never met winter hate until you have spoken to a Canadian.
And the
Born
truth
and
is,
bred.
but here's the thing too. The truth is, the longer you have to deal with it, the more bitter you kind of are, I
Yeah.
find. Because when
Yeah.
I came, I landed in January, the week after an ice storm. There's no
Yeah.
more and I've never been to Canada, no winter, nothing, right?
Yeah.
And it never bothered me. It didn't bother
Yeah.
me. I'm like, I'm here, I'm on a mission. All these
Yeah.
things that are happening, they're gonna be gone. Then after COVID, I spent some of that time in Jamaica, so I skipped a winter. And I came back, and next week the snow dumped on my car like it was, and this is 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, "Welcome back, Christina." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Whose idea was this? Whose idea was this?" So I had less tolerance there. So I
Yes.
think over time, once you settle and it's like it's not a first world problem anymore. It's like, okay, like enough of this. But I feel
I'm
you. I feel
hoping
you.
that I get into winter sports before
Me too.
this Canadian hate settles
Oh.
into my spirit.
Hmm.
So, my biggest thing, I wish I had a mentor that was able to. I would have absolutely paid and invested. I think a lot of persons really skip on investing because the process is so expensive, right?
Yeah.
You're thinking about all the costs that you have to pay. But let me
Yes.
tell you about the cost to learn.
Yes.
If you can
Uh-huh.
skip it,
Hmm.
skip it. The cost to learn is more expensive than any
Yes.
other fee that you're
Yes.
paying on this immigration journey. So
Yes.
invest in mentorship for any phase of, so this is not specific to pharmacists,
Hmm.
any immigrant. If you can find someone who is already here, and please find someone that is legit, not a scammer, there's a lot of those here too, but
Yes.
find a credible place where you can get credible information on your journey. It is going
Hmm.
to make all the difference. It's going to change you from being here for 5 years and not making the steps that you would like. You
Hmm.
need expert information to be successful on this journey.
Yes. And I love that. I love that as we land the plane here because that is part of our mission, right? That's why you do what you do. That's what I do, because we went
Yes.
through the fire. We
Yeah.
realized that, okay, some of this was avoidable. Let's just tell somebody so that
Yes.
they don't have to go through the same fire that we did. And you started your mentorship program. I started my platform as told by Canadian immigrants and wrote my book that is my entire immigration journey, so that you
Yeah.
guys can skip the struggle. It doesn't need to be that way. And I find that there are too many of our people that are choosing the struggle bus to save money. And I promise you that it's more expensive at the end of the day when you have to, because on some mistakes, there's no money that can fix some mistakes. There is actually some mistakes that are irreversible, and to get your vision or the goal that you're trying to get after that mistake is going to be a lot harder, especially if you have to leave Canada. It's harder to come back, right? It's possible, but it's not as easy. So figure it out while you're here. get help, get mentorship, subscribe to As Told by Canadian Immigrants. Khamoye, where can we find you on social?
So I am live on LinkedIn. I love being on LinkedIn. That's where it is that you will see me the most active. So go
Perfect.
ahead and search me up, Khamoye Williams, on LinkedIn. And actually, I am going to be introducing a new mentorship product as well. So updates on that are going to be coming soon. So stay tuned
Perfect.
to my LinkedIn
Yes.
profile to see what I'm going to be doing next.
Yes. So you'll see her. It's going to be linked in the description below, and it likely probably will come up on screen as well. Khamoye, Khamoye Williams. That's like Will I am. Right? This has been a pleasure. I know so much more about the process now. And even though I'm not becoming a pharmacist, I think this is the beauty of networking. It's just that now
Yes.
I know. Now I
Now you
know
know.
now I know that there is a resource, there is help, there is mentorship, and I can navigate people that way. And people who are watching this, who knows somebody who's trying to become a pharmacist or trying to get licensed in Canada, can now say, oh, let me send them this video. So I
For
appreciate
sure.
it if you hit this like button, because it helps YouTube know that, okay, this is worth watching. Let's send it to more people. Share it with a fellow pharmacist or international professional graduates. That's what IPG is means. I don't think that we said that anytime throughout the conversation, but we use the word IPG. Send it to somebody. And if this was helpful for you, please hit that subscribe button for more helpful videos like this. And I will see you in the next video.